I don't appreciate those words that you just said. I know what you're trying to do.
Shane Lowry just went face-to-face with Keegan Bradley at the 2025 Skins game, and the tension was immediate and undeniable. What started as high-stakes competition quickly turned personal, and the real trigger behind this confrontation might surprise you. The clash between these two players reveals layers of rivalry, redemption, and unresolved Ryder Cup tension that exploded onto the green in front of cameras and millions of viewers. If you want the full story behind the drama rocking the golf world, hit that like button right now, drop a comment with your thoughts on this rivalry, and subscribe so you don't miss any updates as this story continues to develop. This confrontation is just the beginning, and you'll want to follow every twist as it unfolds. The 2025 Skins game marked the first edition of this format since 2008, representing far more than nostalgia. The event's return signaled a calculated effort to blend traditional golf spectacle with contemporary high-stakes competition designed for modern audiences. Panther National Golf and Country Club in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, provided the venue, chosen specifically for its challenging layout and reputation for producing dramatic moments. The course design tests not just technical precision, but composure under pressure, creating conditions where mental strength matters as much as physical skill. The format itself departed significantly from traditional stroke play tournaments that dominate professional golf. Rather than accumulating scores across 4 days, the Skins game operates hole by hole, with each hole representing a separate contest worth prize money. The lowest score on each hole wins that hole's skin and the associated cash. When players tie, the money carries over to the next hole, potentially creating massive accumulated prizes that raise tension dramatically. This structure creates entirely different strategic calculations and psychological pressures compared to conventional tournaments. The 2025 edition implemented an innovative twist with a reverse purse system that intensified the financial drama. Each competitor, Shane Lowry, Keegan Bradley, Tommy Fleetwood, and Xander Schauffele, received an initial stake of $1 million. Rather than competing for a shared prize pool, players could increase their totals by winning holes while simultaneously losing money when opponents won. This meant every single hole carried direct financial consequences for all 4 participants, not just the winner. Additionally, the event compressed competition into 16 holes played in 1 day rather than the typical multi-day format, amplifying urgency from the first tee and leaving virtually no room for recovery from mistakes. Every shot, whether a delicate putt or aggressive approach, held tangible consequences. The psychological stakes matched the financial ones, forcing players to manage not only technical execution, but also the pressure of potential monetary loss in real time. This format transformation demonstrated how golf traditions could adapt to contemporary entertainment expectations without losing competitive integrity. It was no longer just a nostalgic exhibition. It became a high-stakes experiment in competition, strategy, and spectacle that tested players' nerves alongside their skills. The participant selection reflected careful consideration about star power, competitive balance, and narrative potential. Xander Schauffele brought recent major championship success and top 5 world ranking status. Tommy Fleetwood represented European golf excellence with a proven record in high-pressure situations. Keegan Bradley carried prominence as incoming Ryder Cup captain and accomplished tour professional. The original lineup was supposed to include Justin Thomas, whose star power and precision game would have added significant appeal. However, Thomas withdrew due to a back injury, creating an opening that would transform the event's entire dynamic. Shane Lowry was selected as his replacement, a decision that appeared routine on the surface but carried profound implication. Lowry's inclusion immediately reframed the competition from a straightforward exhibition into something layered with history, rivalry, and unresolved competitive tension. The backstory between Lowry and Bradley, particularly their recent Ryder Cup roles, would prove central to the event's most memorable moment. Shane Lowry's 2023 season had been marked by high-profile achievements achievements, most notably his performance in Europe's Ryder Cup victory at Marco Simone Golf Club in Italy. Playing before passionate European crowds, Lowry delivered crucial points that contributed to Team Europe's decisive win over Team USA. His clutch putting in tight matches demonstrated his ability to perform under maximum pressure when representing not just himself, but his entire continent. These moments of triumph came at the direct expense of Team USA, where Keegan Bradley served as a playing captain. Bradley's experience at that Ryder Cup was fundamentally different. As captain of the losing American side, he bore the weight of defeat that stings uniquely in team competitions. Ryder Cup losses carry emotional and psychological weight far beyond typical tournament disappointments because they involve national pride, team dynamics, and intense pressure in match play format, where individual performances directly determine team outcomes. Players remember these defeats with particular intensity, especially when serving in leadership roles. This context meant Lowry's replacement of Thomas transformed the Skins game into more than high-stakes golf. It became a stage for unresolved Ryder Cup tension, potential redemption, and the subtle settling of score. The substitution reshaped the psychological landscape entirely. Bradley no longer faced a neutral competitive field, but rather a direct Ryder Cup opponent who had contributed to his painful defeat just months earlier. For Lowry, the opportunity to compete under the Skins game's financial pressure offered a platform to assert dominance and prove his mental toughness against the American captain. The tension became explicit remarkably early in the competition. After several holes where multiple players tied and Skins carried over, accumulating prize money, Lowry made a birdie that matched Bradley's score, resulting in another halved hole. At this point, with players wearing microphones that broadcast their comments directly to viewers, Lowry looked at Bradley and delivered a line that would define the event. "I've just spent the last few months breaking Keegan Bradley's heart." That single comment, delivered with clear intent and captured by broadcast audio, instantly transformed the competitive atmosphere. It was direct trash talk referencing the Ryder Cup defeat, designed to gain psychological advantage by reminding Bradley of that painful loss. The remark served multiple simultaneous functions. It was entertainment for viewers, providing exactly the kind of personal drama that makes sports compelling beyond pure athletic performance. It was psychological warfare, attempting to disrupt Bradley's emotional state and focus during high-stakes competition. And it was strategic communication, asserting dominance and confidence in a format where mental edge can matter as much as shot-making ability. The comment immediately reverberated through broadcast coverage and social media. What could have remained a friendly if competitive exhibition now felt charged with personal stakes, national pride, and the desire for redemption. For viewers and commentators, the moment crystallized what the revived Skins game could offer. Not just golf, but raw drama and emotion under extreme pressure. Because players were wearing microphones and the format forced quick reactions with immediate financial consequences, nothing was filtered or sanitized. The traditional separation between private player interactions and public presentation dissolved, creating unscripted moments that resonated powerfully with audiences. For Bradley, Lowry's remark represented both a challenge and an opportunity. He could have allowed it to disrupt his focus, creating emotional interference with his technical execution. Instead, his response demonstrated elite-level mental toughness and competitive resilience. Rather than visibly reacting or engaging in verbal sparring, Bradley proceeded to execute exceptional golf, ultimately dominating the competition in ways that provided the most effective possible response to trash talk, overwhelming performance that speaks louder than words. By the end of the 16-hole competition, Bradley had secured 11 skins, far more than any other competitor, and walked away with $2.1 million, representing a profit of $1.1 million over his starting stake. His victory was punctuated by several dramatic moments that demonstrated his ability to perform under maximum pressure. On the 5th hole, after 4 consecutive halved holes accumulated prize money, he won decisively, claiming substantial early momentum. On the 13th hole, he faced a 7-foot putt worth $900,000, the accumulated pot from multiple previous halved holes. The financial magnitude of that single putt, combined with the competitive context and Lowry's earlier trash talk, created extraordinary pressure. Bradley made the putt cleanly, demonstrating composure that separates elite competitors from merely talented players. From a sports psychology perspective, Bradley's performance following Lowry's provocation represents textbook emotional regulation under adversity. Elite athletes must manage not just technical execution, but also emotional responses to challenging situations, including receiving psychological tactics from opponents. The ability to maintain or even elevate performance after being targeted with trash talk demonstrates mental toughness that complements technical skills. Bradley's dominant showing after Lowry's comment served as validation not just of his golf ability, but his mental strength and competitive character. Shane Lowry's result stood in stark contrast to his confident early trash talk. He won a single skin during the competition, a birdie on a par 5 that earned approximately $200,000. While this represented significant money in absolute terms, in the context of the competition and the pre-match tension he had created, it appeared insufficient. The disparity between his bold psychological tactics and his ultimate performance created a narrative of overconfidence meeting reality. Bradley's massive win, achieved specifically after being called out by Lowry, amplified the contrast. However, evaluating Lowry's trash talk simply as failed strategy oversimplifies the complex dynamics at play. The comment served entertainment purposes regardless of competitive outcome. It created memorable television moments that enhanced viewer engagement and generated substantial media coverage. From the perspective of event organizers and broadcasters seeking to maximize audience interest, such moments are valuable because they generate social media discussion, highlight reels, and emotional connection to competition beyond pure golf results. Lowry's willingness to engage in psychological gamesmanship, even if it didn't produce competitive success, contributed to making the event compellingly watchable. The broader implications of the 2025 Skins game extend beyond the specific Lowry-Bradley confrontation to questions about golf's evolution as entertainment and how traditional tournament formats might adapt to contemporary audience expectations. Professional golf has historically maintained a culture emphasizing decorum, respect, and emotional restraint. Players are expected to conduct themselves with dignity, regardless of competitive circumstances. Overt displays of emotion, particularly trash talking or psychological gamesmanship, have been relatively uncommon compared to sports like basketball, football, or tennis, where such elements are routine and even celebrated as part of competitive theater. The Skins game format deliberately created conditions where more emotional and personal interactions would occur. The compressed single-day timeline intensifies pressure. The hole-by-hole stakes with immediate financial consequences raise tension continuously. The microphones broadcasting player communications remove traditional privacy barriers that would normally filter what audiences hear. These design choices represent calculated departures from traditional golf culture in service of creating more compelling entertainment product that can compete for attention in crowded sports and entertainment markets. The question facing professional golf is whether audiences want this kind of content, whether players will embrace or resist this cultural shift, and whether traditional tournament organizers will begin incorporating similar elements into their event. Initial responses to the 2025 Skins game suggest significant audience appetite. The confrontational moments between Lowry and Bradley generated substantial social media engagement, with clips being shared widely and prompting extensive discussion. Media coverage focused not just on Bradley's dominant golf performance, but on the interpersonal dynamic, the trash talk, and the narrative arc of provocation and response. This indicates that golf audiences, or at least significant segments of them, want content that includes personal drama alongside athletic performance. However, this trend also raises concerns among traditionalists about whether such approaches might undermine aspects of golf culture that many participants and fans value deeply. Golf's emphasis on personal integrity, self-regulation through rules enforcement, and respectful conduct has distinguished it from sports with more confrontational cultures. The sport has prided itself on standards of behavior that reflect broader values about character, sportsmanship, and mutual respect among competitors. Introducing trash talk and psychological gamesmanship, even in specialized event format, might gradually shift expectations about acceptable behavior in golf more broadly. Different stakeholders will evaluate this potential cultural shift differently based on their priorities. Younger audiences and viewers less invested in golf's traditional culture may welcome more personality-driven, emotionally expressive competition that feels contemporary and relatable. Established fans and players who value golf's distinctive culture may view such changes as unwelcome dilution of what makes golf special. Tournament organizers and broadcasters seeking maximum audience engagement will likely continue experimenting with formats and presentation styles that generate the kind of viral moments and emotional engagement the Lowry-Bradley confrontation produced. For Keegan Bradley specifically, success at the 2025 Skins game served as meaningful redemption after Ryder Cup disappointment. While an exhibition-style event cannot fully compensate for a Ryder Cup loss, demonstrating ability to perform under pressure in direct competition with the player who explicitly referenced that loss carries psychological significance. Bradley's dominant performance validated his competitive credentials at a moment when his mental toughness and leadership were under scrutiny heading into his role as Ryder Cup captain for the 2025 matches. The win provided a positive narrative and demonstrated that he could respond to adversity and pressure with excellence rather than defensiveness. For Shane Lowry, the outcome was less favorable competitively, but not without value. He created memorable moments that raised his profile and demonstrated willingness to engage in competitive banter that audiences clearly appreciate. While his performance didn't match his pre-match confidence, his participation and personality generated significant attention. His single skin ensured he didn't leave empty-handed financially, and his willingness to engage in psychological gamesmanship, regardless of outcome, positioned him as a compelling personality in golf's evolving entertainment landscape. The success of the 2025 Skins game will almost certainly influence future decisions about alternative tournament formats in professional golf, if subsequent editions continue generating strong viewership, media coverage, and player interest. Expect more experiments with modified formats, compressed timelines, enhanced player-audience interaction through microphones and cameras, and financial structures designed to create drama and stakes on every hole. The model of combining traditional golf skill with contemporary entertainment sensibilities appears to have found an audience willing to engage with golf content presented in these newer styles. This evolution reflects broader trends across sports media where audiences increasingly expect personalized content, behind-the-scenes access, and narrative drama alongside athletic performance. Traditional tournament golf, with its measured 4-day pace, emphasis on cumulative stroke totals, and limited player audience interaction during competition, may struggle to compete for attention against sports and events that more fully embrace entertainment-oriented approaches. The challenge will be finding balance between preserving golf's core values and traditions while adapting to contemporary expectations in ways that attract new audiences without alienating existing fans. Before you go, understand that this clash between Lowry and Bradley is nowhere near finished. What happened at the Skins game might be just the opening chapter of a rivalry that could reshape competitive dynamics in professional golf. The frustration, the pride, the unspoken history between these two players, all of it is rising to the surface with no clear resolution. If you want to follow every development, every reaction, every fiery encounter as this story continues, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are turned on. The next time these two meet on the course, tensions could explode in ways that make this confrontation look tame. Don't miss a single moment of what's coming next.